Continuing, You Can Change the World, The Christopher Approach by James Keller. This should finish Chapter 2, The Problem Has a Cure. To bring Christ into the world, we also must ascend, not by leaps, but step by step. Obviously, we don't have to possess all the saintly virtues to achieve that purpose. To refer again to the godless, the Reds don't ascend or try to ascend by leaps. They don't use only the 100% Marxists. They use anyone who is, in any degree, a fellow traveler or sympathizer. They truly have adopted for themselves Christ's own admonition to the faithful. Be wise as serpents, he urged, and simple as doves. Well, innocent is more fitting to that, but it is well to note that he stressed being wise first, not second. Unfortunately for the world's return to the truth, most good people tend more towards being simple as doves than toward being wise as serpents. Furthermore, as encouragement to all in working toward a cure, there is no small consolation than to do effective good. As a Christopher, one does not necessarily have to be brilliant. Well-trained are in high position. For the foolish things of the world hath God chosen, that he may confound the wise, and the weak things of the world hath God chosen, that he may confound the strong. 1 Corinthians 1:27. Today there are millions who would thrill to follow in the footsteps of the first apostles, to be 20th century apostles, no matter in how small a way. One girl, for instance, who works in a 5 and dime store in Boston, wrote not too long ago that as she is trying to do her bit, all she does, as she modestly puts it, is not get mad at anybody. When her fellow workers try to taunt her with their disbelief in God, all she does is reply with some friendly quip, such as, "Sure you believe in him. There's a lot of good in you," and seldom, if ever, has she received a harsh retort to this honest confidence in them. Now, one of the things, obviously, is that a lot of people who say they're atheist, it's not so much about atheism, it's just they don't have the churchy view. In another instance, an old woman who had a little education and who made her living sweeping the floors in a department store after it closed in the evening, was so filled with the love of God that she decided to try and get another job where she could meet people and share that love with them, where she might serve in her own small way as an instrument of Christ. With the wisdom which God invariably shows upon little people who are anxious to do his will, she transferred to a nearby women's college, attended by young ladies from all over the country. She got a job sweeping and cleaning in one of the dormitories, and as she goes about her daily chores, she makes it her business to meet as many girls as she can. Her whole approach is one of loving solicitude for each of them. She doesn't say much, but few girls are not touched by her deep faith when she says to any one of them, "I suppose lots of folk will tell you there is no God, but I tell you there is, and he loves you, and I pray for you every day at Mass." Now, one of the things is that, our use of language has an effect on society. And one of those things is this referring to people who are obviously adults to one degree or another as boy and girl, to this day, if you're under 30, people are like, "Oh yeah, you're..." It's like, no, stop it. These two zealous apostles, and thousands like them all over this land, have caught and are catching the Christopher idea, an idea which is basically missionary. This missionary idea, incidentally, is one which the communists freely admit they borrowed from Christianity. The words of instruction continually repeated in one red school which boasts of training 40,000 adults over a 4-year period is graphic illustration of that. What we give you doesn't belong to you. You mustn't keep it to yourself. Don't take any job. Get in where you can reach the masses. Get into a college, a government job, a trade union, or a newspaper, with the very different purpose of spreading light where there is only darkness. I don't know if there's ever only darkness. Those same words of advice. What we give you doesn't belong to you. You mustn't keep it to yourself. Can be applied to the whole Christopher movement. We must saturate our whole society with it, and by so doing we may easily change the whole course of history. God is behind us. He will supply His grace in abundance in what may be, for us, the most unusual opportunity since the creation of mankind to recapture the world for Christ. Far from being dismayed, we should realize it is a great time to be alive. We, the 1 million, have the answers. In this land today, there are probably 1 million laypersons willing and anxious to play the role of a Christopher in every and all walks of life. And, although specially trained workers are essential for the more complex problems, a great pioneer work, the leavening of the multitude with Christian ideals, can be done in the same simple way as it was by the early Christians of the catacombs. The one power that accounted for all their tremendous success was their consuming love of all men, even their worst enemies, in each of whom they saw the image of Christ Himself. And it is a power which the least of us can have. It is the cure for which mankind longs. It should not be forgotten, however, that we are followers of a crucified one. As He suffered in His love for all mankind, so must we suffer likewise. Mary, His mother, the first bearer of Christ, who brought Him into the world, suffered much. Well, there's a difference between going through difficulty and suffering, right? To be a Christ bearer, a Christopher, must mean sacrifice, loss of time, inconvenience, suffering, misunderstanding, and countless disappointments that truly try men's souls. Still, the answer is in our hands. For the next 20 or 30 years, perhaps longer, this nation will play the leading role in world affairs. Which way it will lead depends upon us. If the Christian principles that make our country possible are reawakened in the 100 million who know not the truth or have forgotten it, we can lead the world back to Christ. It is a terrible challenge, but we must face the facts. There is no other way than the way of Christ. I'm the way and the truth and the life. John 14:6, and it's more like A or that of the time. It's something said over and over for these avatar figures, but if because they came with they paved the example and shared the laws for their time, like the Bible says that Jesus refurbished the law. If we but strike a spark, that spark, in the providence of God, may burst into a flame of love, which will fire all mankind. But there is no time to lose. We must show speed. The efforts of even the least among us will be blessed with results that will exceed our wildest dreams. God willing, we may yet recapture the world for Christ. It is a great time to be alive. Now, I would differ between Christ and Paul, right? Luciferianism, I mean, you can look at that Christ as Lucifer video to see that it perhaps doesn't mean what you think, but it's more about personal realization, personal actualization, and no vicarious thing. It's about freedom, not but you're the light spreader, but not that you're some new Jesus or something like that. But in a way, you become that sort of figure for yourself. So it's I think Luciferianism is spreading while Christianity is shrinking. Don't you think?